Welcome to another edition of the GEICO 15 Minutes or Less Coaches Show with the head coach, Doug Wojcik, brought to you by GEICO, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Call GEICO at 1-800-947-AUTO. That's 1-800-947-AUTO, or visit geico.com. And we welcome you inside TD Arena. Good to be back home after a very successful trip to Baylor this week. We'll talk a lot about that Baylor game. Big win for the guys. And alongside Doug Wojcik, I'm Jeff McCarragher. Thanks for tuning in, Coach. Congratulations on the win. We've heard a lot about it now, a lot of phone calls and texts, I'm sure, for all the players and for you guys. But first win against a top 25 team since the big win on this court back in 2009. And first win against a top 25 team on the road since 1993. So you know all the stats by now, but congratulations, great win.
Well, it's a good stat when some of your players hadn't been born. So,
right, yeah.
I mean, great trip for us. Kids really came through, and it is exciting. It's nice to smile and have a game like that under your belt. And you know, somebody made a great point to me that night with all the big football games, the Notre Dame football game, and all the different things on sports, just to have that thing going across the ticker tape across the country in every bar and home was really good publicity for the university.
I know you told the guys after the game, hey, enjoy this one, but then we got to forget about it and move on and focus on Charleston Southern and then Elon. But I tell you what, after a win like that, it's probably very difficult for the guys to move on. It was very emotional, I know, for the guys.
Well, they had that night. We had the bus trip from Waco to Houston to enjoy it, and then we had a really nice, nice situation. Logistics got into Houston about what was it, 2 in the morning, and they got a good night, fairly decent good night's sleep, and we had to trip home to enjoy it. But once we got back here on Sunday afternoon, it was all business towards Charleston Southern.
Let's talk about the game a little bit. Obviously, Charleston wins at 63-59. The game started out, Baylor got 2 easy buckets. I looked over at you on the sideline, and you didn't know what was going on. You're like, wait a second, you know, the game started, guys. We need to pick this up. But right away, you come back, get a couple of 3-pointers. You guys are right back in it, and they really played well.
Yeah, I give Andrew credit. If you go down 3 buckets, it might be a different story. He comes down and hits a big 3 in the corner right in front of their bench. And we gave up a couple easy buckets. They ran a play that we had kind of scouted, but Pierre Jackson took us right to the basket, and those things happen. But we settled down, and I thought the kids played real loose, felt real good, and they enjoyed themselves playing. And you could see that from last Sunday, the Boston College game, to the Baylor game. Well,
you and I talked about this before the game. It seemed like the arena was set up and the guys were comfortable. I mean, the shoot around was very well. The guys were making shots even the night before in practice, in the practice facility that they have. The guys were making shots. They seemed very relaxed, very confident there.
Well, you know, we weren't in school, so you leave on Friday morning. So you get there, and you get there at a time where they can check into the hotel and relax and then go to the shoot around. So the time was on our side in a way. You weren't rushed to do anything. And then, of course, we sat there all day Saturday. Wait, now, I had wished the game was earlier in the day. I mean, it was an 8 o'clock Central Time start and our clock was 9 o'clock, our body time. So they responded, and again, not one performance better than the other. You're talking about a whole collective effort from the whole team.
Well, it was a real team effort. A lot of guys scoring in double figures. I want to point out 2 guys, obviously without Trent Wiedemann. When you're going against a team with size like Baylor, you got 7'1", 6'11", 6'10". Willis Hall at 6'6" was absolutely outstanding. And then Ajay Brew with 15 rebounds, 2 off a career high. Those 2 guys were key for you.
They really were. I'm really proud of Ajay. I think he's really coming as a player. I mean, if you see a couple of his jump hooks and some of the plays he made, pretty amazing stat. Plays the last 20 minutes of the game, no substitutions for Ajay. And plays 39 minutes for the day. Goes and gets 15 rebounds, and just really proud of him. He did a great job, and that's not taken away from anyone else. It's just that he has to play that way for us right now, and he did. And he goes against 2 guys that are definitely going to play in the NBA: Corey Jefferson and Isaiah Austin. And his effort and Willis's effort I thought, outplayed and played harder than those 2 guys from Baylor.
Talk to me about the offensive development for Ajay Brew, because we talked a lot about his defense with the shot blocks and obviously with the rebounding. Offensively, it seems like he's gaining some more confidence in the post.
Yeah, you guys are amazing, you and Everett. Stephen Howard comes up to me, interviews me at the shoot around at Baylor, and just says, "Yeah, your radio guys talk about he needs get an offensive move to him, and we're working on that." And he showed that. I didn't know you guys were being a little critical on my guy there, but he did show a nice left shoulder jump hook. I was really proud of the fact that he made his 2 free throws. The one went up in the air and came back in, and tried to make him laugh at the free throw line, and then he swished the second one. And just really proud of him. I'm giving you a hard time, but people are pretty critical of post players. And he's a sophomore. He's into his 5th game as a sophomore with high expectations on him. And until you've lived that as a player, I never lived that as a player. I wasn't that highly rated, Until people live that, I think people are fairly critical. And I'm just happy for Ajay, and I'm happy for our team that he's developed that way, because with the skill that I have at the guard spots, and then of course Willis's skill and Matt Sundberg's skill at the 4 position, it just really allows Ajay to do some things, and if he can do it inside, he's going to have the space to do it inside.
Yeah.
So it's kind of exciting to see.
Well, such a great physical talent, obviously. We knew the moves were there. It's almost like he needed to know that he had that ability to be able to do it. And it seems like in the 5 games, again, he's really come along.
Well, most kids, they don't know it themselves.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a lot of times they don't get it down there. And, a lot of teams don't throw it down there, and we're going to throw it down there. And I think it's a way to soften a defense, and the better he can become as a free throw shooter, now he becomes even more of a scoring threat down there. People are going to have to make a decision. What are they going to do? They're going to go double him. They're going to go dig onto him. And if he can become a good passer out of there, then we really got some things going for our offense.
Speaking of good passing, let's switch to the backcourt. Andrew Lawrence, again, comes up big. 7 assists in the game for you, and he was his old captain self again.
Terrific player. He really understands spacing. He's becoming a better defender, more consistent defender. But offensively, tempo for the game, being able to pass off the ball screen, making free throws, making a shot when there might not be something from the offense. He's a terrific player, and just couldn't be happier with him in the lineup. He and Anthony Stitt are really developing great chemistry with Anthony Thomas. So he's just a really, really good player. I mean, I've had the great fortune of being around a lot of great players, a lot of guys that went to the NBA, and Andrew is a really, really good player.
Coach, you've been saying all along this entire season, it's as simple as just making shots. Against St. John's, we couldn't make shots, had some open, just missed some shots. Against Baylor, Norrie Johnson comes off the bench, hits 3 3-pointers for you. Anthony Stitt hits a big 3-pointer. Matt Sundberg comes in, hits a 3-pointer. You guys shot the ball real well.
And Anthony Thomas made big plays.
Yeah.
He really did. And I'm not trying to be too critical on teams. I still think St. John's is physically more talented than Baylor. I think they're longer on the perimeter. I think they're more athletic on the perimeter, and that gave us some trouble to some extent. I mean, it was the 2nd game of the year, and playing against a matchup zone. But not to take anything away from Baylor, and not to take anything away from our team. Our guys did a great job. They played us man-to-man. We executed what we wanted to execute, and guys showed up. And so when you start to get a team effort like that, and Norrie Johnson making 3 threes in a road win at Baylor, I mean, that can only do great things for his confidence. Anthony Thomas making big plays down the stretch for us again, just like he did against Boston College, can only give him confidence and give our team confidence.
Don't want to forget about Willis Hall either. Goes 8 of 10 from the free throw line. Had that Willis Hall.
Oh, Willis. Okay, yeah.
Has that great fadeaway from the left side over there. All the guys are giving him a hard time. Look like Kobe Bryant, but a great shot.
Tremendous shot there. I think a lot of the effort prior to that, but that shot, there was 4 seconds left. I think 5 or 4 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yeah.
So he had to take the shot. And sometimes when you have to take the shot, it doesn't matter. So it went in. But again, he's kind of a winner. He's one of those guys that if you don't win, you can live with the effort. And a lot of times, I know it's a crazy way of thinking as a coach, I kind of look at it as like, who do you want to lose with? Mm-hmm. And Willis is one of those guys that I'm willing to lose a game with his effort, and because most times, 8 times out of 10, you're going to win. And he made some big plays down the stretch, and he's an outstanding free throw shooter. I'd love to have him at the line at the end of the game, him and Andrew Lawrence.
Yeah. College of Charleston wins it by a final of 63-59, knocking off the top 25 Baylor Bears. 3 wins now in the season. Pretty good start to the season. Wins against the CAA, Big 12, and ACC wins. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll take a look ahead at the week ahead. Some big games come up against Charleston Southern, and then Southern Conference play begins as well as we continue on the GEICO podcast right after this.
GEICO says, let's make life simpler.
Look, I'm all for modern conveniences. But ask yourself, do you really need a blender with 23 buttons just to chop an onion? At GEICO, we think life should be simpler. So we make it super simple to save on car insurance. Just one click and you could be on your way to saving hundreds. Come on, people. Life doesn't have to be that complicated.
GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back on the court here at TD Arena. Here it's good to be back in downtown Charleston after a great trip to Baylor. Again, the guys knocking off number 24 Baylor Bears 63-59. Coach, you and I were talking during the break about the stats. You guys continue to out-rebound your opponents, which is good, and shooting the ball pretty well too. Yeah,
we're really shooting the ball well as a team, and I think that has to go with shot selection. You know, we're not taking not too many bad shots, and it's really important to take good shots, and we're sharing the ball inside. So really pleased if we can just shore up the turnovers and shore up the free throw shooting. You know, we'd have probably walked away from that Baylor win with an 8 or 9 point win had we made our free throws down the stretch. So, you know, as things shape, I'm pretty pleased with where we are statistically.
What a great confidence builder, and what a good early win for you and your era here as well. Good chance for you guys to all come together on the road.
Yeah, timing's everything. You know, say you don't win the game, I mean, life moves on. You have a game on Wednesday, but the timing of winning the game and winning against a Big 12 opponent, a ranked opponent on the road, it just helps the whole program. It helps the university. It helps just the karma that goes with what's going on. And you know, sometimes you have that, sometimes you don't. Business has the same thing. Timing is everything, and fortunately we had great timing right now.
Coaches, wrap things up here. No time really to celebrate this game because quickly now you look ahead to Charleston Southern, a very tough team on the road in their gym. It's a small place. It'll get very loud. That'll be on Wednesday. And then Southern Conference play begins against Elon on Saturday. Yeah,
there's 5. You know, Charleston Southern, very impressed with them. Barkley's done a good job with his team, and they're scrappy, and they play hard, and they shoot a lot of threes, and they go to the offensive glass. So no, it will be a fight on Wednesday night, and then Saturday at Elon, there's 5 BCS wins in our league. Davidson has 2 of them, Charleston has 2 of them, and Elon has a win at South Carolina. So they're picked on the first in their division, and you know, not an easy way to start, but also a great opportunity for us to get another road win.
Now, as we look to that game on Wednesday against Charleston Southern, what's your style of trying to keep the guys so that they can move on from a big win against Baylor and stay focused against Charleston Southern?
I just let them know right away, man. I mean, just they know, and it's somewhat of a rival game. It's a city game, so and we're going to play there. I mean, I guess that's the first time in a long time that we have to play there. So you know, you're only as good as your last game or your next game, so we've got to move on.
The Southern Conference, like we said, Elon with a big win. Sure, you're looking forward to the Southern Conference. Your first trip around the conference this year will start this Saturday.
Yeah, it will be. And then as we're, you know, the other side of this is people need to realize we're kind of winding down the semester. Yeah. So there's a lot of demands on our kids academically, and this is the last week of school. Next week you go into 3 road games in a row, and then you got Louisville at home, and then you have finals. So just to be fair to the kids, they've got a lot on their plate, so we're trying to manage it.
That'll wrap things up here for another week's edition of our GEICO 15 Minutes or Less podcast with the head coach of the College of Charleston, Doug Wojcik. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you again next Monday right here on CFCSports.com.